X-Play, TV's most watched video game show.
On today's X-Play, we continue our exclusive week-long coverage of the first big gaming event of the year, GDC 08 from San Francisco. We'll have the broadcast television premiere of the most anticipated fighting game ever, Street Fighter 4. Plus, we go hands-on with the world premiere demo of Sony's explosive espionage MMO, The Agency. And we've got FaceTime with the biggest winners from the Game Developers' Choice Awards. It's game time!
And I'm Adam Sessler. We're coming to you from the 2008 Game Developers Conference in San Francisco on Thursday, February 21st. We're the only source for exclusive coverage of gaming's first big event of the year. Every day we have world premiere demos and the latest breaking news.
On today's show, we will finally get our hands on the latest installment of the world's most famous fighting series, Street Fighter 4. Plus, we'll talk to the winners from last night's Game Developers' Choice Awards. Basically, our version of the Oscars.
And we're going hands-on with the world premiere demo of Sony Online's The Agency. Plus, I think we finally might crack the Zodiac case. But first, let's get all the latest headlines in our gaming update.
Thanks, Adam. Portal, the little puzzle shooter that could, was named Game of the Year here at the Game Developers' Choice Awards. Portal also nabbed the Innovation and Best Game Design Awards, giving the companion cube a total of 3 wins for the night. Valve CEO Gabe Newell was proud to take center stage to accept the prestigious awards, sharing 2 well-known facts in his acceptance speech. DigiPen students are smart, and the cake is a lie. Be sure to stick around. We'll talk to the team behind Portal later in the show. Gears of War 2 has been on the tips of everyone's tongue since it was officially announced yesterday during Microsoft's keynote speech. While the teaser trailer for Gears of War 2 showed off chainsaw dueling, it was the Unreal Engine 3 tech demos that had developers watering at the mouth. There were hundreds of locusts on screen simultaneously, pillars and walls being destroyed realistically, and best of all, new soft body physics for more impressive frags. We can all look forward to the limited edition and regular edition of Gears of War 2 this November. Wii Fit is only the beginning, according to new information from Nintendo President Reggie Fils-Aimé. Over 10 new games are currently in development for Nintendo's unique balance board peripheral. Strong sales are expected for the U.S. version of Wii Fit, so strong, in fact, that 1 million units are being prepared for the game's launch. Whether or not the additional balance board games will be distributed through Nintendo's new WiiWare channel or packaged as standalone retail products remains to be seen. Well, that is all for today's gaming update. For all of the latest gaming news, head on over to g4tv.com/xplay. But now let's go over to Adam, who's ready to get you button mashing.
Thank you, Morgan. Well, if you're a hardcore gamer, you probably spent your youth putting quarters into a Street Fighter 2 arcade machine. Well, Capcom's attempting to bring back the glory days of competitive arcade matches with a new take on its classic franchise. Here's an all-access look at Street Fighter 4. It's taken nearly 8 years, but Street Fighter finally has a 4 after its name.
I think there was sort of a lot of internal debate at Capcom back and forth about how exactly to proceed, how to answer the 2D versus 3D issue, and it sort of took some strong internal vision, and the game's producer, Ono-san, felt strongly about moving forward graphically like the 3D allows, but keeping the traditional 2D gameplay mechanic, which has always been sort of the hallmark of Street Fighter.
The game is still early, but it is known that the original 8 fighters from Street Fighter 2 will return. 2 new characters have also been revealed.
The 2 new characters are Abel, he's French, the man with no past, he has no memory, and then Crimson Viper is an American agent, and she uses technology rather than practicing some martial arts. She just pushes a button to shoot fire at you or electricity.
Instead of the parry system of the 3rd game, Street Fighter 4 uses something called Revenge.
The Revenge system right now will take your traditional super combo and turn it into an ultra combo. It will also be involved in the saving system, which is now called the focus attack in the West. So a lot of strategic thinking, but we're trying to make the execution more open to everybody who remembers the original Street Fighter II mechanics.
For those of you watching this and saying, but it's in 3D, Street Fighter should be in 2D. Fear not. The game feels responsive and solid, almost like a mix of 2 and 3, not like Street Fighter EX.
Street Fighter II is the core of the game. That was Ono's vision, and that's always been the focus from the start. It's a return to the form of Street Fighter II, but we are trying to make it more open to players to sort of use their minds and be able to play at their best without sort of challenging them to do 1,000 joystick inputs.
Unfortunately, there's no word on a console version yet, but Street Fighter IV hits Japanese arcades this summer, and the U.S. arcade release is under consideration. Cross your fingers it makes it, because Street Fighter IV could have the same impact that 2 had.
Anybody that remembers the original Street Fighter II mechanics is going to be able to pick this up and play, so it's not like you need 10 years of experience to be able to come to this game and really enjoy it and get a lot out of it and play at a fun level. But I think there's also going to be a lot of interesting mind games for the expert players, which I think is Street Fighter at its highest point. It's not about 500 button presses or anything like that. It's about outthinking your opponent and strategy and just brilliance of that kind.
Coming up on X-Play, we've got FaceTime with Microsoft keynote speaker Chris Satchell and get the latest on Gears of War 2 and all things Microsoft. Then we'll talk with the big winners from the Game Developers Choice Awards. Plus, we grab our cloak and dagger for some hands-on with Sony's new spy-themed MMO, The Agency. Stay with us.
Welcome back to X-Play's exclusive coverage of GDC 08. 8 years ago, Microsoft came to the Game Developers Conference to unveil a little thing called the Xbox and forever changed the gaming landscape. In 2008, Microsoft wants you to shake up the industry. For more, let's get some FaceTime with keynote speaker Chris Satchell.
At yesterday's Microsoft keynote, the company rolled out some big announcements besides the unveiling of Gears of War 2. The XNA development kit, which allows anyone to create their own games, has been downloaded over 800,000 times. Through Xbox Live community games, anyone will be able to create their own masterpiece and share it with live users. Today, we're getting a closer look at this digital revolution with Chris Satchell, the general manager of Microsoft Developer Group. All right, Chris is the General Manager and Chief Software Architect of Microsoft Game Developer Group. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
This is really exciting. Just to get a quick sense of how difficult is it to make games with XNA, and how can someone out there, get XNA in order to make a game?
I think it's really easy. What we've done is we took all the kind of things that go into a game that aren't fun, aren't about being creative, that are just about, doing all the plumbing. We pushed that into a reusable framework, which means we've made it easier than ever before to build a game with XNA Game Studio. I mean, we see letters all the time from people that say, hey, I tried to build games, and, I never quite finished one. I got XNA last week, I finished it, and I'm on to my second game. So it really feels like we're kind of empowering the community there.
Now, we saw some games at the keynote, like Dishwasher. These are very impressive games. Were you guys prepared for the level of quality that you're seeing with people using XNA?
I think we were surprised. I mean, when we did Dream Build Play last year, which was our competition to kind of spur creativity in the community, we weren't prepared for what we got. I mean, these are amazing games, and like that top 20 was so good. That's why we argued for so long and ended up giving 4 contracts instead of 1, because we just couldn't make up our minds. They were that good. I mean, Dishwasher by James Silver, and this is what blows me away. 4 months. The guy had a day job, and he did every part of that game himself. I mean, it's just incredible.
I mean, that's very impressive. Now, also, you have the peer review, because you really are, it's almost like a YouTube, as you said, of video games. How does that peer review exactly work?
Well, what was important to us was if we're going to open up all this creative freedom, if we're going to connect the 10 million people on Xbox Live to those thousands of creators out there, we need to give the community a way to manage its content so they can be responsible about what goes up on the service, to keep that creativity flowing. So what the peer review review does is it lets you submit a game, and then other people in the community take a look and see if you've been, accurate about how you've described your game, so gamers can make an informed choice.
Now, I'm curious, is Microsoft going to have any input in terms of sort of content control if the game is, very exceptional in terms of its violence or maybe some of its content?
We don't want to be the arbiters of what the community does. We want the community to decide what they do. Now, having said that, I think there's some basic guidelines that we'd all be able to agree on, and we'll make those crystal clear about what is so objectionable. None of us would want it on the service. The other one we're really strong about is don't infringe people's IPs. We're all creative.
Exactly.
We want our work respected, respect other people's work. And then beyond that, party, do what you want.
All right, Chris, thanks so much for joining us today. I'm really excited to see more of these games coming in the future. And let's send things back over to Morgan.
For the latest game news, reviews, and more, be sure to catch an all-new X-Play every weeknight at 8 p.m. and log on to G4TV.com/X-Play for updates on everything gaming. Stay tuned to G4. We are here at the Game Developers Conference to bring you previews, exclusive coverage, and the news as it happens.
X-Play, one of iTunes' best podcasts of 2007.
Whatever was in that bottle.
If you're
Welcome back to X-Play's coverage of GDC 08. If anyone deserves to be strutting around here like the cock of the walk, it's the people behind Portal. While their game may be short, obtuse, and at times insanely difficult, it managed to win the hearts of the gaming community and take home one of the industry's most prestigious prizes. The Game Developers Choice Awards are an annual event where the people who make the games honor the best work of their peers. While games like Call of Duty 4 and BioShock have swept critics' best of list, the men and women who create the magic have tipped the Game of the Year nod to Portal. A triumph of creative and technical innovation, perhaps no other game in 2007 exemplified the ability of the game developer to produce a form of entertainment that feels utterly fresh and original, even in this media-saturated age.
Joining us today is Kimberly Swift, the lead designer for Portal. Thank you for joining us and congratulations. How does it feel to have Portal awarded Game of the Year by your peers?
It's absolutely amazing. When we were working on Portal, we definitely, wanted people to like our game, and it's been really incredible hearing all the feedback from everybody about how much they enjoyed the game.
All right, so give us a little history on the development of Portal. It didn't go through the normal channels.
No, definitely not. Basically, all of us started out at DigiPen Institute of Technology. We were all seniors there, and we created a game called Narbacular Drop for our senior project. And a couple of people from Valve swung by, took a look at the project, thought it was pretty interesting, and then took us to Valve and had us demonstrate the game for Gabe Newell, who hired us on the spot to basically come and make Portal based on our student project. I actually thought he was kidding when he first said it. You're like, ha, 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 really? Really?
So when you guys were developing this, did you think it was going to be the standout title on Orange Box when everybody was talking about it?
Definitely not. No, I mean, the one thing that I think is really great about the Orange Box is that it's got a little bit of something for everybody. Like you've got the multiplayer in there with TF, and you've got a nice epic storyline with the Half-Life games, and you've got a little bit of something a little funky and different with Portal. So,
and what did you really learn from making this game?
Well,
I mean, from the whole experience in general, I mean, it seems just like such a roller coaster ride for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been extraordinary. Of the most important things that I learned, while we were developing Portal is that balancing your game based on your playtests and watching people play through your game is the most valuable thing you can do as a developer, because it really helps us tune, not only the gameplay but our storyline as well.
And how long has Portal been around, from like the first time you guys conceived of it to the time that it came out?
So we basically started Portal about 2.5 years ago.
Okay. So it's been a long time in the process, but not as long as some other games.
Yes, it's very true.
All right, what can we expect in the future?
Well, I believe Doug Lombardi, who's our lead marketing director at Valve, has announced Portal 2. So
well, we can't wait. Well, thanks for coming by. We really do that right now. Go back over to Adam.
The votes are in, and G4's American Ninja Chapo. And stay right there. We'll have more from GDC right after this.
Up next, we go hands-on with the world premiere demo of The Agency. Get ready to enter the covert online world of Sony's explosive new MMO. Don't blow our cover. Stay tuned.
Take G4 on the road. Download this show now as a G4 podcast.
G4 is like a clan of plasma pixies who want nothing more than to satisfy your every entertainment indulgence. They will introduce you to the TV shows you need to know about, fawn over your gadget lust, scour the web for the craziest videos, and plug your brain into the latest comics, game systems, and films. They're good like that. Anyhow, G4 is exactly like that. Kinda.
Welcome back to X-Play. Sony Online Entertainment has brought you such hits as EverQuest and Star Wars Galaxies. In 2008, they are dropping you in the covert world of spies. So if Jason Bourne, James Bond, or Alger Harris are your kind of heroes, you'll want to join us for our world premiere hands-on demo of The Agency. Sony Online Entertainment, developers of the EverQuest and Star Wars Galaxies franchises, have created a new, massively multiplayer project, The Agency. This MMO is a third-person shooter that fully immerses you in a world of espionage. You'll be able to create and customize your own operative, build a reputation, and build up an elite agency.
And joining us today, Director of Development and Executive Producer at Sony Online Entertainment, Matt Wilson. Thanks so much for coming by and showing us The Agency.
Thanks for inviting me.
This is definitely a different game than what we expect from an MMO. It's real-time, and it is very action-based. What else is there?
Yeah, I think the main thing we want to do is really target the console market and bring something to the console market that really hits that demographic. And what we're talking about is shooting here. We're talking about action. We're talking about things that, if you're familiar with playing Halo or Half-Life 2, you should be able to jump into our game and get going. And this isn't your old-school turn-based MMO. This is high action. This is explosions. You know, this is living the life of an elite agent.
So how do you create your character, and how do they change throughout the game, like in the RPG?
Yeah, right at the beginning, we start you off in one of the two established organizations, Paragon or Unite. And Paragon is kind of our down and dirty mercenaries. Unite is our uptown vodka-drinking spies. This is where James Bond would be if he was part of our organization. Once you get going, you're going to start doing missions, combat missions, dead drop missions, aliases. You're going to be sneaking and finding all sorts of stuff where you'll progress through the agency, collect what we call operatives, and form your own agency.
And what are the classes that you can take for yourself within the game?
Well, one of the things we want to do is really make this more mainstream, and we went with the concept of you are what you wear. This is a very simple class system. You come in, if you're wearing combat, you're a combat guy. If you're wearing stealth, you're a stealth guy. If you want to be a support guy, or a hacker or something like that, you wear that outfit. And as you use that outfit, you progress in that rank.
But can you change outfits within the game?
Oh yeah, of course. One of the things that we know about the shooter and market is when you get in and want to play it up, you might have a support guy today that's helping you out. Well, he's got to go. He's got to play some other game, maybe get his rock band on or something like that. Well, in this particular case, you want to change up, get your support outfit on, and continue with the team. What we want to do is really keep that teamwork tight.
Give me a sense of some of the missions that you'll be playing within the agency.
Well, we're going to have a variety of missions. I mean, this is an online public space. This is a big world, and some of the stuff we're going to have are straight-up combat missions, what you'd be used to when you're playing like a Halo or Half-Life type game, all the way to defense, assaults, and then alias missions. This is where you're sneaking around, not necessarily getting the kill every time. Maybe sneaking around, getting that covert thing, breaking into the office, and maybe getting that nice little knife kill right at the end.
Now, obviously, you have the two different agencies. You'll work with people on your side. How many people do you expect will be playing together at one time in the game?
Well, the world is huge. We'll have worlds that support up to 3,500 players at any given moment in the space. But what we expect is players will group up in groups of probably about 4 people. These are kind of your squads, your teams that you're going in and doing the missions. But that doesn't mean you're not going to be playing with other people in the world. This is a large-scale universe. You might be doing PvP in an area where you're taking on other groups, or maybe you're just doing a challenge where I've challenged your agency to a PvP match in an arena and we're going at it together. So we definitely want the feeling of a large-scale universe here.
Now, obviously, you're doing an action game, kind of like PlanetSide a few years back, which didn't really work so well. What are some of the challenges in trying to take a shooting-style game and make it into an MMO?
Well, I think the interesting thing is we did do PlanetSide, and we learned a lot from that. One of the big things we learned from it is that we tried to bring more of a casual mechanic, which is shooting, into the MMO space, but what we found is it was too large scale. We were talking about large-scale battles, 100 on 100, which sounds great, it's really exciting, but when it comes down to that coordination is really big, and a lot of people just don't want to do that. What we want to do is bring that down to a more intimate size, and that's where the 4-player squads come into it. And what we found is when we actually looked at other MMOs that we've developed over time or play, actually people solo quite a bit. And then once they kind of get used to soloing, then they grouped up together and build those small-scale teams. So that's what we really learned.
This is also going to the PC. Will there be any difference between the two versions of it?
What we're trying to do is make sure that people can play on the PC or play on the PS3. We haven't determined yet if we're going to let those play together. There's really no technical reason. We're working with FCEA right now to figure out update packages and strategies, but a lot of cool stuff there. All
right, well, thanks so much for dropping by. The game will be coming up, but you have no release date right now?
No release date right now. We're going into alpha, but we'll invite you as soon as we're up.
All right, I cannot wait. Let's take it back over to Morgan.
Thanks.
Time for us to call it a day here, but we'll be back tomorrow with more exclusive coverage of GDC 08 in another all-new X-Play at 8. On tomorrow's show, we'll get some FaceTime with the mad doctors behind BioWare's smash hit Mass Effect.
Then we'll get a first glimpse of the fairy tale world of American McGee's Grimm. Plus, we have an exclusive all-access pass for a look at Fable 2 with the game's mastermind, Peter Molyneux.
And you'll also want to be here tomorrow for a special head-to-head with developer Warren Spector.
You're watching the weekend block of X-Play, and another episode, well, starts right now.
So we have seen some great MMOs this week.
I know.
Very excited.
They're different.
Yes.
That's the best part about it.
The best part about GDC and new ideas getting shared all over the place.
Go make me a game, someone.